Good in Nigeria, and yes, Nigeria, we are going overseas this time. Welcome to the Final 8. Welcome to episode 2 of the Final 8. We are covering the NFL, the Final 8 NFL teams. I'm your privileged host, Limboye. Welcome to your doorway into various amazing sporting events across the world. We are going global. We are going NFL. We are going American football. Yes, I know most of my audience might not be familiar with American football. Yeah, I know that. It's actually a very interesting sport. I will do you justice, don't worry about that. I'll do an explainer video on how the sport works before we then go into the divisional round brackets, the final 8 teams. We do a snapshot of all the teams, and then, as you all know, we are accountable for our actions. So I'll be choosing the team I believe would go all the way, winning the Lombardi Trophy. I would also predict the team that will represent the NFC and the AFC in the Super Bowl. Great! Welcome to episode 2, the Final 8 NFL teams. All right. So, before I get into the NFL and American football and how it works, actually, I want to give a quick shout out to the show that actually, was my doorway into the NFL. The first things first, I love those guys. Those 3 amazing hosts. I love the way they capture sports generally, and it was really an amazing entry into the amazing world of American football. And trust me, I can see why millions of Americans love that sport. It's actually a quite interesting sport, right? I see it as a chess match that is played on, I would say, 120 yards of grass, right? With different pieces, each piece crucial to winning. And I would cover that. It's actually an incredible sport. Quite tactical. You're moving around. You're trying to outmaneuver, outthink your opponent. You're trying to execute as much as you can, right? So let's get into it. Now, as you can see on the screen, this is the typical NFL pitch. You have the end zone on one end and the end zone on the other end. You can see you also have goalposts on both ends. The way it works is very simple. The ultimate goal for a team when they step into the pitch is to score a touchdown. Their goal when they have the ball is to score a touchdown. That's the ultimate goal when a team have the ball, right? And the goal is, by the end of the match, you've scored as much more points than your opponent. There will be 11 players from a team that will be on the pitch at a certain time. A team will put out 11 attacking players when they have the ball because they want to score a touchdown. The other team will put out 11 defensive players to stop the team from scoring a touchdown. There are also other avenues to score points. There is scoring a field goal. If you realize you don't have the opportunity to score a touchdown, you can kick a field goal. A field goal is kicking the ball between those 2 yellow posts you can see on the screen. Getting the ball to the end zone is the first priority, which is a touchdown. But then if you're unable to do that, but you're close enough to kick the ball across those 2 gigantic ball posts, you get a field goal. A touchdown is worth 6 points. A field goal is worth 3 points. So, of course, you will prefer to get a touchdown than getting a field goal. All right. So back to the mechanics of American football. A team put out the attacking units, 11 players. The opponent put out 11 players to stop these attacking units. Right. The attacking units have the ball, and there are 2 ways they can move the ball. They can throw the ball, that's a pass, or they can carry the ball and run. That's called a rushing. And the team with the ball, really, they have 4 attempts to make a certain amount of progress. They call it downs. So when you have the ball, you have 4 downs to make a certain amount of progress. Really, it's 10 yards. So you have 4 chances to make 10 yards. Otherwise, the ball reverts back to the other team and they have possession of the ball. Now that we know that each team has 4 opportunities, 4 downs to make 10-yard progress, you would realize that there are some certain game states where the team actually kick the ball away. That's called a punt. The reason is because where the 4 downs end is where the opponents get possession of the ball. So if you are closer to your end zone, you do not want the opponents to get the ball closest to where they score a touchdown. So typically teams use their first 3 opportunities, 3 downs, to progress the ball 10 yards to get a new fresh 4 downs to progress another 10 yards. But when they realize that they are unsuccessful in the first 3 opportunities, 3 downs, they use that 4th one to kick the ball as far away as possible, called a punt, for the other team to start progressing the ball. Same tactics, same strategy, same rules. Now, remember I talked about the field goals. It's possible for a team, and these are another game states. It's called the red zone. When you are 20 yards away from scoring the touchdown, you're 20 yards away from the end zone, right? It's possible you are at your 4th opportunity, your 4th down. This is where you have a couple of options. Because you are close to the goal post that you can see on the screen, you're very close to that goal post. You could go for a field goal. Most kickers in the NFL typically are comfortable making a field goal from anywhere around 40 yards from that goal post. So you could go and opt for the 3 points. Otherwise, you could actually take your chances and see whether you can make up the extra yardage you need to get 10 yards to get another 4 opportunities. So really, those are some of the tactical game states. And also, remember I mentioned that there are 2 ways a team can move the ball. It's also determinant on the best way your team can move the ball or the weaknesses of the opponent. Right? Maybe the opponents are susceptible to passes and throws, so you throw the ball, or they are quite vulnerable on the ground, so you run with the ball. So these are some of the chess matches that go on in an NFL game, and I'm privileged to cover this. I've really enjoyed this sport. These are the current divisional brackets. Now, I'm sure most of you are unfamiliar with some of these teams, but maybe you are conversing with your contemporaries from the United States or from North America, and some of them love football. That's their lingua for this, right? This could be your opportunity to show a bit of ball knowledge. You have the Bills and the Broncos, the Texans and the Patriots, the 49ers and the Seahawks, and the Rams and the Bears. So the Broncos, they are actually a team that loves steady pace. They have a balanced offense. They typically advance the ball a little bit of yard here and there with each of the opportunities. So they go 5 yards. They are not explosives. What are explosives play? Explosives are when you cover a significant amount of yard with one opportunity. So it's possible you throw the ball down the field, your wide receivers pick them up, and you have the opportunity to make a play. Speaking of the chess pieces, why don't we talk about the critical, important chess piece of an attacking unit on the field? Let's start with the quarterback. I'm sure you've heard of this. It's even already in professional lingua. Like, I would like to quarterback this project, So the quarterback is the principal decision maker. He's the highest paid player on the team. He's the one that holds the ball at the start of every play, right? And he makes the decision on whether he throws the ball, whether he hands the ball off to a specialist runner. They call them running backs, actually. or he could even run it himself actually. So he is the leader. He guides the team on where they should be, and also actually a key important thing is he's actually a processor. I see it like a CPU, like the queen on a chessboard, right? He must have awareness of where every single member of his team is to make the proper decision, right? Especially given that the opponents are trying to get to him. They're trying to get to him because he has the ball. So he's kind of very important actually. He's a very significant piece of the offense. Then you have the wide receivers. Those are the quarterback's weapons. They are the ones that receive any pass thrown through the air. And the more skilled the wide receivers are, the more opportunities and tactics and decisions and options that the quarterback has. Then you have the running back. Those are very agile, physical, and swift runners actually. They are capable of evading different obstacles and carrying the ball with them. And then of course you have the offensive line. The offensive line's job, actually I would say there are two key roles of the offensive line: to protect the quarterback or to make space for the running back, to progress the ball down the field. And I love this group. They are called the tight ends. They are actually multi-purpose. They can serve sometimes as receivers. They can serve sometimes as blockers, part of the offensive line. Sometimes they can actually run the ball. So you never know. Let's take the Bills. The Bills are a lopsided team. They have the best quarterback in American football right now. He's actually regarded as one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. He's really good, right? And so this team are capable of explosive plays. They are capable of throwing the ball down 50 yards. They are capable of creative ways of progressing the ball and scoring touchdowns. And a lot of people regard them as favorites to get to the Super Bowl. This quarterback has actually never got into the Super Bowl before, and a lot of people are rooting for him. So keep your eyes on the Bills actually. Then the Patriots, this Tom Brady's dynasty, a dynasty that seems to have been re-energized, revitalized, and rising from a 5-6 year mediocre period. A lot of people are unhappy about that. I actually love it, to be honest. I love storylines like this. I mean, you've seen it across sports. Real Madrid, Manchester United. You love it when big franchises rise again and are back on the top high stakes part of sporting competition. So I love the Patriots. They're actually a well-coached team, and they don't seem to have any obvious weaknesses. So really that's their strength. They don't have any obvious weaknesses actually. Then you have the Texans. The Texans, they are the best defensive team by a lot, right? Teams do not progress the ball or move the ball with the Texans, right? So it's probably a low scoring game if you really want to beat the Texans, because you don't expect to score a lot. You don't. So you just have to find a way to restrict their offense and then hope that you can edge that game state. Keep an eye on the Texans. You have the Seahawks. The Seahawks are regarded as the most complete team. The reason they have a very good defense, actually you could say they are the second best defensive team. They have a pretty good offense as well. They have a quarterback that has the ability to be explosive, has the ability to create unique plays and opportunity where most can't. So the Seahawks actually are a team that the market believes are the favorites to win. Do I believe that? I don't know. The 49ers are well regarded as having the best coaching unit. They have a coach that's actually shown is creative, unique, well regarded as one of the creative coaches in NFL. Think of Guardiola in football. This is the guy, Kyle Shanahan. And even though they are actually quite injured a lot of people are not counting them out. You never count Guardiola in football. That's in European football, by the way. So you never count them out. And I would quickly round up. You have the Bears, the Chicago Bears. This team, actually, they are a unique team. I'm wearing a Packers jersey, and if you ask any team, the Packers especially, about their last encounter with the Bears, it's not a funny story. They are a team that actually have had 7 final quarter comebacks. It's the most by any team so far this season. Right. They have that fighting spirit. They have a unique ability to to make things happen, to make miracles happen. They are a unique team. They are a unique team. And the Bears are actually one of the teams remaining in this competition that had one of the lowest preseason expectation. They have a young quarterback. They have a new coach. They've been mediocre for several years. And here they are, part of the final 8 teams. And no one will bat the eye if they win their next match. The Packers, though, are hoping that they do not. And you have the Rams, the LA Rams. The LA Rams currently have the MVP favorites, currently as the quarterback and leader of their team. And their offense is versatile. If you recall, I mentioned that the Senegalese, they have a well-diverse offense. They can score from any angle. This is literally the Rams. They can score by throwing the ball. They have two very good running backs. They can run the ball well. They can go explosive. They can progress steadily. They have tight ends that can block, that can run, that can play a key role in any unique play. They are actually a very dynamic offense. Defensively, they might be shaky, but they're a team to look out for. Okay, so I've covered each of the teams, and let's go to the bracket again. So here's the bracket once more. So you can see the 49ers are the Seahawks, the Rams are the Bears, the Bills are the Broncos, and the Texans are the Patriots. I believe from the NFC side, the Seahawks, like I said, they are the most complete team. So actually, do the 49ers have what it takes to actually upset the Seahawks? Do they have enough creativity in that coaching playbook? Do they have enough weapons? Can they stifle the potentially explosive Seattle offense with Sam Darnold and GSN? You have the Rams and the Bears. The Bears are the most exceptional team at creating miracles. And the Rams can be shaky. But like I mentioned, the Rams are versatile offensively. So it's difficult stopping them. And then the Bears have a shaky defense. We have the Texans and the Patriots. The Texans have the best defensive unit by a mile. And the Patriots, they don't have any clear weaknesses. But they also don't have any obvious strengths. You can't say they're going to overpower you offensively, because they are being led by a a quarterback that is currently only in his second year and is in his first playoff, even though he has actually performed exceptionally this year. And then you have the Bills at the Broncos. The Bills, a lopsided team with the best quarterback by a mile, versus a balanced team, very good defensively, not as lopsided as the Bills. It's actually an exceptional matchup. So let's go on to what's the market saying between these brackets. Who do most people believe will get to the finals? Well, from the NFC, the Seahawks and the Rams are basically a toss-up. From this bracket, Seahawks, Rams. From this side, though, there is a bit of parity in the teams that could make. Most people favor the Patriots by just a little bit. And the Texans, no one will be surprised if they get to the final. So what do I think? We're getting to the time and the place where I make my choice. The Seahawks and the Rams, I do believe, are going to meet in the divisional NFC championship. This team has faced themselves 2 times currently. It's split 1 each. But I believe the Seahawks have shown in those 2 matches that they have what it takes to beat the Rams. So I do believe the Seahawks will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Now let's get to the interesting part. Let's get to the AFC. There are 4 teams currently, and no one will be surprised if any of these 4 teams will get to the Super Bowl this year. All 4 teams, you could say they are equally balanced. Not one of them have a clear advantage, superiority over the other. Both have strengths and weaknesses, and they balance out. So my choice would actually be a shocker, because I'm going for the team no one expects to get to the final out of these 4. They have the lowest probability, the lowest odds, and the lowest pick among NFL analysts. I'm going for the Texans. I'm going Texans in the Super Bowl. So my Super Bowl matchup is the Seahawks versus the Texans. Why? Well, the Seahawks is clearly the cleanest control system. They have a balanced defense. They have a very good offense. And they've also shown that they can play with the big boys. They are battle tested. They are battle ready. They actually have a good, clean slate of health among their roster. No injuries. They have a bye. They are well rested. It's clear. The Seahawks. The Texans have the clearest advantage that I can see important in every game state. In any game state, any situation, and at any particular point in time. So a good example would be the Bills. The Bills have the best quarterback, but I can easily nullify that by running the ball, taking possession away from them, having long drives, and he doesn't really see the ball often. The Broncos, they don't really have a distinct advantage. They are really good, really balanced. The Patriots, no real weaknesses, but also not a lot of exceptional strengths. The Texans, though, they have a superiority advantage in the defensive end. And in any game states, whether the Texans are leading, the defensive team can show themselves in the team and be very useful. Whether the Texans are trailing by a lot, the defensive team can cause a lot of 3 and outs and get the offense back on. They can cause fumbles, they can cause picks. Their last match, they scored 2 touchdowns from turnovers. So they can also influence the offense by getting the ball in favorable places. So I really see their strengths as something that is useful across all game states. And so I have the Seahawks and the Texans in the final. But I'm going the Seahawks. I'm going the Seahawks because I believe that the Seahawks can match the Texans defensively to an extent, and then they are the superior offense and they are the superior system. So that's my pick. My pick for the Super Bowl 2026, Super Bowl 60 prediction is the Seattle Seahawks facing the Houston Texans. You might have a problem in the Super Bowl because I believe the Seahawks are going to lift the Lombardi Trophy. And the prodigal son, Sam Darnold, is going to continue and finalize his redemption arc by getting his first Super Bowl ring. So let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section. Let's put it on our public ledger. So right on our public ledger, we have the Seahawks beating Houston Texans in the Super Bowl 60. And like you can see, we chose Morocco to beat Senegal. And currently, Morocco is facing Nigeria in the semi-final. We are doing a great job so far. But let's see whether we can get the maximum 10 points. Be reminded of the scoring mechanism. It's right here on the screen. We get 10 points for a perfect prediction, but we can lose it all if we are so wrong. Our next episode, we are going... Where are we going to? Where are we going to? We've done Africa. We've done the USA and the Super Bowl. Where do you think we should go to? Oh, we are going to Australia because we are covering the Australian Open. I'm excited for that. The first Grand Slam of the year. We are covering tennis, the Australian Open, the final 8, the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. This is the final 8. We talk when the pressure rises because we believe the best system speak at the highest pressurized moments. See you next week. Subscribe, like, give comments, give your feedback. Thank you for joining us.